Welcome to the satsang. Let everything just clear out here. All the confusion, all the noise, all the turmoil, just let it clear out. Situation in the world. It's very much like this. A lot of turmoil. No matter who wins the elections in November in the U.S., there's going to be extreme unhappiness. We're going into a period of darkness now. And the heat is going to be on. So what we need to do is we need to cool down. We need to cool off like this. Get into the right mindset, the right spiritual orientation, and the right confidence, quiet confidence. Feel positive that we are going to see beyond the world. See a world beyond this world is the key to it all. Have our vision awake to that which, a world that is beyond this world, a world that is not a world of loss, because in this world here, all is lost. Everything, we lose everything. Everything is only temporary. You know, the heat waves are also temporary. The cool down is also temporary. Every last thing is temporary. The intensities can come on strong, and the intensity can drop like that. Life seems to be full and vibrant for a while, and then it becomes like very dull like that. But beyond this world is a world that we truly want, where there's no loss at all. Everything that we want remains with us eternally. So that is the aim, the goal of all satsang, is to find that which we cannot lose. And that is truly what we want. That which we cannot lose. Here everything is always shifting and changing like this, constantly. It's ceaseless. Our lives are changing by the minute, you see. Always something like this going on. And it's really true. We wonder, is this it? There's nothing other than this? No. We're told that there is a world beyond this world. We can't see it with our eyes, but there's a vision, there's a way to perceive it that can arise within us, and we can be shown this world, and we need to be confident that we can see this. Because there's a lot of trouble here, as we know. It will be like this very shortly. And we need a refuge from it. We need to see the world that is there beyond this world. The world that is not apparent to us as we cling to loss. Why? Because we're trying to lose ourselves. So we're really embracing loss in an attempt to lose what we are. So what we are goes entirely dark. That's what we're trying to do. What we need to do is we need to let go of that embrace of loss and embrace non-loss. so that we have something permanently. We experience permanence. Permanence of what we really want, not permanence of loss. We don't really want loss. We wanted to lose ourselves because we want to get something better than what we are, something greater. But that was just a whim on our part. We don't really want to continue on with that because we have everything. The effort to be greater means that we have to try and lose everything. And of course, in this world, we do lose everything. Everything that we have. I mean, by the time we're ready to pass on, we've lost our, usually our eyesight, our hearing, our senses, our mobility, our money, our energy, our enjoyment of life. Our friends have passed on. The epoch we live in is passed on. Everything it passes here. But there's a world that is full of what we want, and it doesn't pass. And there's a way to see it. So that's our great hope. It's all one package: unconditional love, the real world, peace, forgiveness, vision. All of that is just a package deal. What we're going for is a package deal. We're trying to get out of this heat that's building up in the world, this trouble that's building up here. The turmoil. The clouds are here. It's kind of like we're in a situation where the clouds have been building up like this, and the storm has come in, and we're wondering, how bad is this storm going to get? And we're about ready to find out how bad it's going to get. It's not like we look up at the sky in our virtual sky and it's all clear, it's all beautiful and calm. No, it's very dark. Storm clouds are hang heavily over the world, over this world, the world of loss. And we just wonder, how much loss is there going to be? Really, we ask, how rapid will the loss be? How severe? And basically, what I've been saying is it's going to be very rapid and very severe. All my videos are based on that premise. It's going to be rapid and severe. More rapid than we expect, more severe than we expect. If it was just going to be the same old, then, people might not even be paying attention to any of this. But it's only the intuition that we have that it's going to be more rapid and more severe than we expect. That's the only reason why people are really paying attention to these videos. Otherwise, we'd say, what's the hurry? What's the rush? What's the pressure? And we might just be continuing on same old. But obviously, watching these videos, we're trying to get a sense of urgency and the importance to really step on it. And so it's going to be a very all-out kind of situation where more than anyone really bargained for, except that there are those who come into this world who actually are so interested in loss and trying to experience the maximum loss, believing that magically if they experience total loss, they will somehow then receive a new being out of that total loss. That they will forget reality, forget what they are to such a profound extent. This will magically result in them being new creators of a new reality. And that this loss will be the fact that establishes the new reality for them, and they'll be prime creators. So they're really coming here to embrace loss. They're coming here to feel the heat, to feel the intense heat of loss. And they wouldn't be here unless there wasn't going to be intense loss. If you're very observant, if you just kind of have this very profound observant characteristic, stuff will catch your eye. If you pull God's grace into your life, you become observant and you see things that you would miss before. Just subtle little things. Something might be passed you by, and you say, what is that? What is that attitude? And you say, how do I make sense of that attitude? Why are they here? There's so many pilgrims on this planet right now that are here for some reason, and we're not sure what it is. And yet when we put two and two together, then it makes sense. We say, they're here to experience severe loss. That's why they're here. They expect it. They're ready for it. That's what they want. For them, that's the nectar of immortality, is by experiencing a profound loss, they expect to be reborn out of that experience. And of course, they won't be. But they don't know that yet. You see, they'll find out. You have to find out somehow. Generally, you find out through suffering and existence. Because the purpose of existence is to forget what we are and try to become something different. And this automatically entails drastic suffering. Eventually, you're going to run into drastic suffering. That's what happened to me. I ran into drastic suffering. Maybe even with the best of intentions, but in trying to awaken the world, I ended up getting into the problems of the world and feeling all those problems and caused drastic suffering. The drastic suffering is inherent within existence. You know, the Buddha said that this is a suffering. I take it one step further. It's drastic suffering. Drastic suffering. And as we're sitting here saying, well, here come the clouds. Here come the clouds. Okay, I wonder how bad this is going to be. Keep it in mind. All those that are here, that you see them. And you realize, if I were to say to you that they were here because they wanted to experience drastic suffering, it might ring a bell. It might ring a bell for you. And you might say, oh my gosh, what other reason could they be here for? It's like they're so intensely desirous of drastic suffering and drastic loss that as they're waiting for it to happen, they have to play all these video games and engage in a culture and listen to all this music, basically surround themselves with virtual experiences of virtual loss. Everything just getting torn to pieces and dying and just people moaning and screaming and just a whole cacophony of loss. They have to, have that going on virtually in their culture, in their entertainment, in their thoughts and everything, just so they can feel that their time here has been worthwhile as they wait for the drastic external loss. Things didn't used to be this way. Before the clouds got real dark, there are epochs in this world where the clouds come and go. But, we didn't spend our time, we tried to spend our time actually sort of in turning towards the highest harmony and beauty and serenity. The most beautiful weather, the most still atmosphere, the most gorgeous colors and quietude. And we really spend our time the opposite. Try to spend our time here simulating no loss. That's what I've done with my life, trying to expect and simulate no loss. Situation of no loss. Loss-free experience where there's no loss taking place. And so it's the opposite. So who's right? I mean, that's the question, right? I mean, if there are those in this world who have come here to experience no loss, that's their purpose, no loss. And there are those who come here to experience, extreme loss. How can that both be true? Is the question, right? How can we experience both? Well, the answer is, as I try to pull up something here, the answer is that I believe those who want to experience no loss are going to see beyond this world. They're going to actually, a whole nother world is going to become apparent to them. A loss-free world. Because this planet that we're on now, the planet of loss, is going to go through severe drastic loss. That's why those who are here for that purpose will certainly experience that. And those who have been aiming for a loss-free world will experience that loss-free world. A world that holds everything that we want and no loss of anything that we want. Holds only what we want. A world that we did not make ourselves, and thoughts that we did not make ourselves, that we share. Thoughts that are shared. The world is shared. And it's only the thoughts we want, and only the world that we want, and there's no loss of any kind. That is literally the goal. So you see, there's different directions that people are going in at this time. If you want to experience severe loss, then this world is going to be the place to be. And if you want to not experience severe loss, then experiencing the world beyond this world will be the experience to have. So how confident am I that this will take place? I'd say very confident. Exactly when? I cannot say exactly when that each one reaches that vision. But I am very confident that those who have made that their goal, their aim, will most certainly experience that, the vision of a world that is free of loss. Okay, you cannot lose anything there. You cannot lose your identity. You cannot lose your life. You cannot lose your functionality. You cannot lose what you're experiencing. Everything is perfect. Loss-free world. So these sad songs are getting us ready for that, moving us out of the heat as the world heats up with loss. Gets scorching, scorching hot with loss, as it will most certainly do. We are making every attempt to get into a situation that is not based on loss. So we have a lofty goal, really. We really have a lofty goal here. Very lofty. That is to literally see another world, experience another world beyond this one. This world, the only reason we're not seeing it is we're clinging to loss. We're continuing to embrace loss because we think it's going to bring us something that we want. We're trying to establish consensus because we think that by establishing a consensus, we'll establish existence as real, and therefore we are creators, prime creators of the real. So we're holding on to this world, refusing to see any other world, and because we're saying, well, there must not be another world. We're not seeing it, but I'm saying we're seeing it because we're holding on to this one, and we can't see both at the same time. You can't see a world that has no loss and a world that is full of loss. We cannot see both of those at the same time. How could we? This world here, full of loss, and then we go to a world that is not experiencing. We go to a world that is not experiencing that loss. From one to the other. You can't have both. As we crossfade here, we think we're having both, but we're not really. We're moving into one, or we're moving into the other. Okay, this is just a crossfade. I know with video, you can do all sorts of tricks with video, and superimpose one upon the other. But in reality, you cannot do that. You cannot have it like that necessarily, like that. Either you're experiencing loss or you're not experiencing loss. Okay? It's either or. So ask yourself, which one do you want? Oh, it's warm here now. It's very good. I wish I was in Death Valley 125. Just, of course, with air conditioner. The air conditioner cool things down. Heat is very intense. I don't know why it's flipping like that. All right. The air is starting to move a little bit here. Very good. We're not in a frantic hurry to intellectually get something. This is not like a classroom. It's not a classroom at all. We have time to consider what's being said, not at the level of the intellect, but at the level of feeling. Whereas, in a classroom, you've got like a set curriculum, and there's a test coming up, and you feel you have to remember what the answers are intellectually, and so we just try to grasp this intellectually so that we can regurgitate it. But here, that's not it. We're trying to feel it through and through. Because the only what our goal is to overcome our fear of seeing beyond this world, beyond loss. This world really is loss, and so we're wanting to see beyond loss. That's a great way of putting it. Very good way of putting it. And we have to develop the nerve to do that. And so we sit here in tranquility, letting our nerves adjust. And they are adjusting. Again, it's not an intellectual thing. It's a nerve thing. It's the confidence to go ahead and do it. And that comes, bit by bit by bit. The confidence to do it can arrive at some point, has to arrive at some point. We cool down the agitation of our nerves like this. Calm it down from a point of, a lot of agitation like this, and we calm it down to a point like this where we feel not so agitated. We're cool to the idea, we feel, yeah, that's cool. When we say, that's cool, we mean our nerves feel in sync with it. That was part of the lexicon of the 60s and 70s, which came from the beat scene, from hipsters, which came from jazz music, jazz musicians. And of course, a A lot of musicians use drugs, still do. A lot of the lexicon had to do with drugs as well. But they would, they'd say, yeah, that's really far out. Thinking about something that's beyond just the prosaic, mundane, normal, something far out. Seeing a world beyond the world of loss is far out. That's really far out. When a jazz musician would get into a riff that was really, way off the beat and the key and everything, it was just like, really far away from what you'd expect. They'd say, it's really far out. And when they get into a really great groove, they'd say, that's really groovy. Yeah, that's really groovy. Getting into really means a groove in music. You get into a flow of the beat, and the melody, and the rhythm. Everything is flowing, and you just feel like you can play off that. It means you're in the groove. So, yeah, that's really groovy. Means whatever we're talking about, it seems to be really in the groove. I don't know why these brief flashes are coming, but maybe flashes of insight. Far out, that's out of sight. That's beyond our sight. Talking about something that beyond what we can see. So, as a jazz musician, we're playing something that's just some credible riff, and wow, that's out of sight. It's beyond something that we had conceived, Musically, we hadn't thought of doing that, and somebody pulls it off, and we say, it's out of sight. Because jazz music was about improvisation. A lot of it. And very free-flowing, very jamming, starting it off and just see what happens. It's kind of like satsang, musical satsang. I was really, really good at that, just improvisational playing, jamming. And nobody had any idea where it's going, where it's going to end up. And what happens is you come across unexpected stuff you never would have come across otherwise. And now the music was ragged, and not everybody wanted to listen to it. But there are nuggets, tremendous nuggets there of unexpected beauty. And that's what I live for, just playing the mundane, prosaic kind of music. You know what you're getting, which is fine. But when you're just jamming and you're really, somehow you're developing, and then you catch fire. You really catch fire. And the music comes alive in a way that you never expected before. Same thing with satsang. We're kind of jamming here. I don't know why this keeps blinking like that, but we're jamming. And who knows what we'll come up with. I know most people, they want to set curriculum because why? So they can memorize it. Why do they want to memorize it? So they can regurgitate it. It's about intellectually and pass the test. But remember, passing the test here means to literally see beyond this world, see beyond the world of loss. However you want to characterize that. And that requires a totality that is not intellectual. And so this free-form satsang is better because you're getting free of the idea that it's just an intellectual exercise. That somehow you can regurgitate the right answer, like we are all one, and then someone's going to give you some sort of comfort. You're going to get comfort just so okay, I got an A on that test. That's not it. So I want to stay away from giving satsang which lays out, like a curriculum that to be memorized. No. Certain there are key elements that you touch upon, but it's not a memorization thing. It's a nerve thing. It's a comfort zone thing. You have to move your comfort zone. Now, a lot of people listen to the Grateful Dead. I was not a Deadhead, but a lot of people loved them because they were very improvisational. You never know what you were going to get there, which is really cool. I didn't like it because the drug scene was too strong. And, that's no good. The party scene was too strong. And that was not for me. But the idea of just jamming is a very good one. And you don't know what you're going to get, but you know you're going to get something really nice, really nice. I can eliminate these flashes. You see this keeps flashing like that. If I go into this brightness, it somewhat eliminates those flashes. No, not really, but it's still in the background. I don't know why it's doing that. This is more like I'm in the jungle. It feels like the leeches are in the water. Yeah. Feels like I'm going through this stagnant canal. There's all these leeches. But if we lighten it up, which we can do like this, you see we lighten it up. There you go. Now it doesn't seem so bad. The water seems clearer, more pure. Okay. So it's your feeling the comfort zone of seeing beyond loss that we're all working on. Almost frantically, not quite frantically, but almost frantically, because it's so important. Because the world of loss, this world of loss, is going to go into overdrive. That's the basic teaching I've had my entire life. Is this world, the experience of loss, is going to go into overdrive. And that's what people refuse to believe, because they don't want to believe it. Again, look at the people here in this world now. I'm not judging them. I'm not judging their identity, their spirit, or anything like that. I am just making discernments of what their goal is, what they want to experience. They want to experience loss. Very self-destructive. I mean, they want to experience, other people losing everything. They want to experience themselves lose everything. They just want to have this great big old bonfire of loss. And they want to just embrace it, to be immersed in that. That's just discernment, and they wouldn't be here if they didn't know that that's going to happen here. That's why they're here. They know it's going to happen. Just because somebody wants to embrace loss doesn't mean they're stupid at all. They're very discerning on where to find that loss, where to go to find that loss. Very discerning. So, the arrival here on this planet of this enormous influx of people who are addicted to loss, who are very much eager to immerse themselves in a tremendous loss, so much so that they have to keep themselves immersed in virtual loss all the time. They are here because they have the discernment. This is the place to be for that. So as we say, cuidado, be careful, be aware of this. And be seeking those who see this and are speaking out about this and are talking about alternatives. And of course, the most basic statement that can be made is to experience a world that is free from loss. could it be anything other than that? It couldn't be experience a world that is going through drastic loss, could it? I mean, I guess you might say, well, you can try to find a world that doesn't have such drastic loss to it. But, you know, that's an option for some. But for many, they're looking for something better. They're looking for a world that's really free of loss. And there is such a place. There is such a place. We wouldn't be talking about it. We wouldn't be spending all this time and effort for no reason whatsoever. You know, some of us have caught glimpses of this. I've actually been aware of such a place. And I said, wow. I noticed everything's very nice, and then I noticed that there's no evidence of any loss of any kind anywhere. And at that point, I started getting kind of like, whoa, well, how is this possible? You know, this is really kind of blew my mind. And that's another hipster jazz beat generation term, blew my mind, which has to do with, again, the music just going somewhere I didn't expect at all. The rhythms, everything, the whole thing is happening. And of course, most of those hipsters were taking some kind of drug. They're trying to blow their minds, take their mind beyond what they expected. And you know, that out of the beat generation came the hippie generation. And we wanted to find a world where there was no loss. You know, that's kind of the hippie idea is to try and go beyond. I think the Merry Pranksters bus was further. I think that was on the bus, further. They were looking for something that was beyond the beyond, you know, beyond what we can conceive, beyond what we can imagine. And that's the real world. That's the world, the loss-free world. And, you know, some of the hippies, I don't know any of them have done that, but some of them have settled for their own little microclimate here in this world. Is basically what I have. I grew up in the hippie generation. All of that. I was a little more serious than the hippies. The hippies thought they could find some place in this world that was sufficient. They called it back to nature. And so they tried to establish communes and beautiful places where they worked together, tried to establish here the experience that that would blow their minds, that would be so beautiful. And I was more serious than that, so I did not really party with the hippies. I said, come on, you know, hey, I don't, you know, you really have to be more sober than this. You know, this has to be done. Let's find out. Let's inquire. You know, and ultimately, I was fortunate enough to come across A Course in Miracles, which is like in sobriety. If you really want to sober up, A Course in Miracles will sober you up. Really, big time. If you really want to get serious of seeing the loss-free world, you know, that's like the ticket, because that's what it's talking about. And, you know, you're not going to get it if you're just partying all the time. You know, it's not like we can stay in this world when all the losses is happening. And we can just like party and everything's going to be okay. It's not like that. Because, you know, the old song, turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Because, you know, at some point the party's over. It's kind of like, people who stand in the way of hurricanes or something. They decide not to evacuate, and here in comes the hurricane, and they got their little house on the coast, and the tide is rising, and the winds are howling, and the waves are lashing at the foundations of their houses, and they're having a cocktail party or some kind of party or music. The stronger the wind comes, the louder the music gets. And they're sitting there and they're saying, wow, this is far out.